Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you very much for joining us here for this very special Young India Showcase. Before I start, I want to take a moment to say thank you to the Secretary of the DIPP, Mr. Amitabh Kant, for actually accepting the idea that young Indians needed to be showcased here at the Make in India event. It was his sort of association with this program that we've been able to put this afternoon together, and I'm really, really glad, sir, that you could take time out to join us here this afternoon. You've been here perhaps since Sunday when the Make in India week began here in Mumbai, showcasing India's prowess, showcasing India's competitive advantage. What we're trying to do here this afternoon is a little different. As you can see behind me on the screens, our approach to Make in India is create in India for the world. What we're essentially saying is that manufacturing in India should not be the end objective of Make in India. It should be driven by design, develop, and manufacture in India. What we're saying is that Indian companies that operate in India should be creating globally relevant solutions, not just addressing the global market, but it should be a marriage of manufacturing with IP and innovation. And that is going to be the theme, the central objective with which we've sort of put together this event this afternoon. With that, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like you to welcome on stage the Secretary of the DIPP, Mr. Amitabh Kant.
Let me first thank Shireen for partnering Make in India. I've been a long-term admirer of the Young Turk program. It's one of the most unique, one of the most energizing, and one of the most vibrant programs which you get to see on television. And as has been rightly said, if India is to become a great manufacturing nation, India must invent, India must innovate, India must design, and essentially, that is, India must create. And if India must create not merely for the domestic market, but for the entire world. And nobody can do it better than our young people. The young entrepreneurship of India is truly top class. You can't find entrepreneurs of this nature anywhere else in the world. We just need to provide them the right environment, which the government is determined to do, to make India a very, very easy and a very simple place to do work in. We want these young entrepreneurs, all these young entrepreneurs, to just fly, just fly. They are the ones who are going to break boundaries, they are the ones who are going to use technology, and they are the ones who are going to create jobs. Established businesses destroy jobs, young businesses create jobs. And therefore, all the best for today's program. I truly look forward to a very exciting day ahead.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kant. Thank you so much for joining us here. Shruti, I hand it back to you.
Thank you, Shireen. Now, what started as a hobby space in Bandra, in Mumbai, for people to come in and experiment working with their hands, has now grown into a large community that is pushing the do-it-yourself culture in Mumbai and also in Delhi. Take a look at what the Makers movement is all about.
Hi, I'm Bebhav Chabra. I'm going to tell you a little story. Well, it all started back when I was working for this company called iNetra. It was a small startup based out of MIT Media Labs in Boston, and we were making some portable eye diagnostic devices. Just to give you an eye test using a smartphone. And obviously that had more of an impact in India than it did in Boston, so they asked me to make this in India so we could test this and build this at a better and faster pace. I moved back to India and started working on this, and one fine day, the ceiling of iNetra's office in Mumbai fell down, and it broke everything. It broke our equipment, it broke our tables, it broke everything. So instead of going out and buying new tables and furniture, I decided to build them myself. And I asked people in Mumbai to join me in making that happen. That weekend, about 6 random people showed up, and they helped me build that space. But the great thing was that they kept coming back. They kept coming back every weekend to make something or the other, from small little toys to making a water bottle bazooka. All sorts of fun stuff, only for fun. And sooner than later, the space got so full that we had no place to move. And we had to get our own space. So we got this tiny garage in Bandra to allow more people to have access to this space. But then came the big question of sustainability, because I'd nicely quit my beautiful US-paying salary job and allow to give this access to more people. We tried everything, from doing workshops to training sessions, all the way to the level of selling coffee. And that's us making coffee using a drill machine, if this changes. Fair enough. Eventually, we got to a point that we had to move out of there. and continue doing this. And around that time, India School of Design and Innovation reached out to us, and they asked us that, hey, would you like to move over here because we're doing something interesting, and so are you, so why don't we do it together? So we thought that was a great opportunity. And once again, we didn't have to worry about rent and electricity, so we could focus on something that's the most important to us, which was providing access to people and to educate. So we set up this beautiful space at One India Bull Center and started opening it out to everyone. Couple of interesting projects. There's a musician building a musical instrument that he wants to make. There is a civil engineer making a satellite ground station of the roof of the asylum so that he can start receiving data, so it's open source and available for everyone else. And one of the best projects that's going on, there's a doctor himself building an eye diagnostic device. Who better to make an eye diagnostic device than the doctor himself? And that's something that we wanted to try out. So thank you.
Indian startups today are validating the fact that Make in India is not just about wage arbitrage, but it's about ideas and IP. And our next speaker, Arvind Lakshmi Kumar, is doing just that with Tonbo Imaging. It's a Bangalore-based startup that designs, builds, and deploys advanced imaging and sensor systems for armies around the world. Please put your hands together for Arvind Lakshmi Kumar.
Good evening, everyone. So before I start talking about what Tonbo does, so I just want to start with an anecdote. 1839 is when the first camera was made. It was a 4-pound device. It is called, it is a daguerreotype, a Giro daguerreotype. And from 1839 to 2015, the camera has not changed at all. But its applications have changed. So in 1839, when the camera was made, it was made purely for taking pretty pictures. In 2015, when cameras are made, they're made for visual sensing. You take a camera, you put it on a drone. You take a camera, you put it in a car, driverless cars. You put a camera on the shop floor to be able to take, essentially be able to do industrial inspection and analysis. But the design of the camera, what's very interesting is the design of the camera has been so enduring that in the almost 200 years, the design of the camera has not changed. You have optics, you have a sensor, and you have electronics and processing. It's not changed at all. And the question which comes in is that, is this really the right thing to do? Is it not changed because people thought that it solved all their problems, or it's not changed because people could not come up with a better way of building a camera? And that got us thinking to say that, well, when you look at animals in nature, the only thing which really has one eye, which is what a camera has, is Cyclops, and that's mythical, right? Humans have 2 eyes. Dragonflies have multiple eyes, and incidentally, Tonbo means dragonfly in Japanese. It's multiple eyes. And what multiple eyes give you is the ability to assimilate information from a lot of different sources. And your brain, which is the processing unit of the camera, can combine all that information and make more meaningful sense. So you can build better cameras. You can see through haze, you can see through fog, you can see through foliage. So you essentially can take any camera which is designed with this design principle, put it on a drone or put it on a car, and you'll be able to do better than what cameras can do today. And so that's what we started with. That's the core technology. And we said, where do we apply it to? And we said, what's interesting is India imports, India's defense imports are well known. We import a ton of, more than 90% of our defense equipment. And one of the most significant components of this import is electro-optics and imaging systems. So we said, but why don't we apply this to building better electro-optics imaging systems? And that was the thesis of our business. How do you build advanced electro-optics, not just for the defense market, but defense, transportation, safety, logistics, whatever, but defense is the beachhead. And that's what we do. We build better electro-optics. And the question is, you build an electro-optic system or a company which comes to build electro-optics. You're competing with Raytheon, you're competing with Lockheed, you're competing with a lot of different people. So you've got to design it differently. If you're vertically integrated like them, you say, look, let's invest in building large manufacturing places. Let's set up assembly plants. We said, that's not going to really work for us. So what we did is we raised a lot of money, but we took all that money and invested in people. We said, look, the whole thesis about Make in India or manufacturing in India is not really about manufacturing per se or production. It's about design, owning the technology, control the supply chain. Manufacturing, with due respect to all the manufacturing people, is value add with low margins, right? You really want to build a country, want to build business, control the supply chain, own the design. And that's what Tonbo does. We are about 60 people. We have a market cap of $250 million. We've been about 5 years in business, and we sell to about 25 countries around the world. Thank you.